U.S. Treasuries and U.S. dollars. Not nearly as much now. I mean, it's the Federal Reserve that's doing most of the buying. And so foreigners are not participating anywhere near the degree that they did. And of course, the deficits are much larger now. So we need foreigners more now than we did then. And we're not getting their support, and we're not going to get it. In fact, we're going to lose whatever minimal support we've got now. And so I think instead of buying dollars, the smart central banks are not just buying other fiat currencies. They're buying real money. They're buying gold. Let me, let's see, from Lewis. The U.S. debt clock states a dollar to silver ratio is 4,268 per ounce, and dollar to gold is 35,000. Is it reasonable to think that we go back to gold? We could see those prices. Well, I mean, that $4,000 silver, that seems really up there. $32,000 gold. I mean, those are some high prices. I mean, look, is that impossible? Obviously, it's not impossible. Of course, if we have hyperinflation, I mean, the prices are meaningless, right? But, I mean, I don't know that we're going to get up that high, but I think that, we can certainly get $10,000, $20,000 gold, and we can certainly see several $100s an ounce for silver. I don't know about 4,000. I mean, you really have to get some massive inflation to get the price of silver up that high. Seems like Trump is taking more of a commanding lead in Florida. I don't know if they've called Florida for Trump yet, but it sure looks like he's got Florida. Let me see. What is the libertarian answer to the problem of climate change? Well, first of all, you have to assume that there is climate change, and more importantly, that it's man-made and there's something that we can do about it. And so I think even if you accept the fact that the climate is changing, I think it's a stretch to believe that it's changing in any significant degree based on humanity and what we're doing, and that there is something that we could do about it. And that even if we try, that we could succeed, and that the cost of succeeding may be worse than just allowing the change to take place. But the libertarians do have an answer to pollution and things like that. I mean, they do hold the polluter responsible. They do, it's just like any other act of aggression. Just like somebody can't steal from me or assault me, they can't pollute my air. They can't pollute my water. And people can be held accountable financially for the damages that their conduct imposes on other people. So there's nothing inconsistent between a limited government and clean air and clean water and things like that. The big government people like to pretend that, without big government, nobody could breathe. We'd all have, polluted air and polluted water. And that's not the case. And we can have even cleaner air and cleaner water in a true free market environment than in the environment we have now. Let's see. What is the libertarian answer? And is there an alternative to the Green New Deal? First, the Green New Deal is a bunch of nonsense. Right? I mean, that's a disaster. The Green New Deal is far worse than climate change could ever be. So there is no libertarian alternative to that, because that's just a complete disaster. I mean, it's just an excuse to impose socialism, and that's the environmentalists, or environmentalism has been used by socialists for a long time. They use the environmental causes to advance the socialist agenda, and basically the Green New Deal just puts that on steroids. My 7-year-old son, Tyler, wants to know where to invest his excess capital. Well, I didn't even know. I mean, you got a 7-year-old son with excess capital. Where do you get the capital? I don't know, but apparently someone said that you can buy my funds at Schwab for $100. Although I don't think you can have an account at Schwab if you're only 7 years old. You can have a gift to minor. I guess you could set up an account for him and buy some of my mining stocks in there. Let me see what's going on in these odds here. I still can't get that that predicted site up. But the Dow has kind of given up some of its gains. Now it's only up 150, but this is still pretty mild movements, I think, in all the markets. I mean, gold's down $13. I mean, these are small moves in the scheme of things. Let me see what's going on with the currencies. That could indicate what people are thinking, especially the dollar against the Chinese yuan. I think that a Trump victory is seen as being negative for the Chinese currency because it means that the tariffs are likely to stay on longer. And yeah, you are seeing the Chinese yuan, which was positive earlier in the night. It is now down about 0.5%, which is a pretty big move in that currency. That currency makes smaller moves than most other currencies. And so to see the yuan down 0.5%, to me, I think that they are moving some money into the Trump camp. It looks like there is some bets. Now, again, those tariffs are not effective. They haven't reduced the trade deficit. America's trade deficit with China is bigger now than it was before Trump was elected. And the tariffs are not paid by the Chinese. The tariffs are paid by Americans who buy Chinese products. And Americans are buying more Chinese products and they're paying the tariffs. So the damage is not happening in China. The damage is happening in the United States. And that will continue to remain the case, even if Donald Trump is elected. And I expect, regardless of the outcome of this election, I expect the Chinese currency to rise. So it doesn't really matter. In the short run, of course, there's a lot of traders that speculate. And since a Trump win would be seen as a negative to the yuan, then you would imagine that if he does win, or there's speculation that he will win, that could see some money moving out of the yuan and buying the dollar, although that could be unwound very quickly. But we still don't have any of the results in. I'm looking over my shoulder, and all these states are still, too early to call. All these swing states: Arizona, Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin. I mean, none of these states have been called for anybody. And again, I'm not even sure. I forget. I mean, if all these mail-in votes, are they part of the totals that we're seeing right now? Have they already been counted, or are they going to come later? I don't know. I'm not really sure what the story is there. Somebody says, are you saying nobody should buy gold and silver mining stocks with operations in the U.S. due to added risk of corporate taxes and regulations? No, I'm not saying that you shouldn't buy any U.S. mining companies. I mean, there's going to be political risk everywhere to some degree when you invest in any business, but in particular mining, because you have permitting, you have environmental concerns and other things like that. But I do think that there is risk in the United States, and so you want to be diversified. But no, I mean, I wouldn't exclude the United States as a jurisdiction, and I own gold mining companies with operations in the U.S. But I am concerned that taxes could go up. But you have those concerns everywhere. I mean, that's part of the risk of investing. That's why we're diversified. We have companies all around the world, companies that have operations around the world. We try to eliminate the jurisdictions that have the most risk. I wouldn't put the U.S. into that camp, but I think a lot of people underestimate the risk. And I think just when you get beyond the mining sector. I mean, there is a lot of new regulations that are being proposed on corporations by Biden. And if Biden does win, those additional regulations are going to be, more probable, as are higher taxes. I mean, taxes are going to go up. I mean, there's just no question about that. And so all that is political risk.